Have you ever thought of buying a franchise or currently own one or many? If so, this podcast is for you. Welcome to Franchise Euphoria, the podcast created and hosted by franchise attorney Josh Brown for the sole purpose of helping people find success through franchising.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Franchise Euphoria, the podcast to help you find success in franchising. Name is Josh Brown, the founder and host, and I am just thrilled to be here today to provide you with another Franchise Euphoria tip of the day. You know, some time ago, I created an ebook called What to Know Before You Buy a Franchise, and it's available on my website, and it's really a detailed 47-page book, which goes through 10 important things that you, the potential franchise buyer, need to consider before you buy a franchise. And today I want to focus on the first thing, which is actually the most important thing, and that is understanding you. You need to understand yourself, your personality, your experiences, what you bring to the table before you ever consider buying a franchise. I talk to people all the time who are at various stages of a franchise purchase, but very rarely do I hear people talk about any kind of self-assessment that they do on themselves. And this is so important on many levels. First and foremost, a franchise is not for everyone. And that might sound surprising coming from me, but that's just the reality. I mean, some people are better suited to start a business that becomes a franchise, to do it themselves. You know, I'm a perfect example of that. I think I would be a horrible franchise owner. I tend to like to do things the way I want to do them. I tend to want to create the systems, create the rules, create the procedures, rather than follow someone else's. And it took me years to figure that out, but it's been powerful to really understand that about myself because it prevents me from making a lot of poor decisions. And really, that's what it's all about. As you learn more about who you are and your individual tendencies, you're more likely to make better decisions in the future and, quite frankly, easier decisions in the future. Because if you know that in your heart of hearts, you want to build something in your own vein, in your own name, then why would you even look at a franchise? If you know that you don't have any kind of desire to work in the retail space, then why would you ever consider a retail business? And it sounds so obvious, but so many people get blindsided by the opportunity and they don't stop to consider that it's really a long journey. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so the tip of the day today is how do you need to understand how to learn more about yourself. You need to take the time to go through the exercise and think about all the experiences in your own life that have led you to where you are at this moment. For instance, if you're stuck in a corporate job or if you're in a corporate job that you've been in for years and maybe you've had a burning desire to break free of that, ask yourself why you haven't done so already. You know, what's led you to try to stay in that secure environment? What has prevented you from moving forward? What kind of experiences have you gained over the years? What kind of specific skills do you bring to the table? And perhaps most importantly, when you do these kinds of assessments, you need to understand what you're not good at. You need to understand what you don't do well. As an example, for myself, I mean, I'm a pretty bad organizer. In fact, I'm terrible. I mean, I think of a lot of ideas and I can start to put things in place, but I'm not the right person to organize things. And so I try to get other people to help me do that. And when I don't have other people to help fill in those gaps, it's really not a good situation. It can be disastrous. And you'll find the same thing when you're looking for a franchise. If you determine that your weaknesses are in organization or in management, then you need to figure out how to overcome those before you buy a franchise where organization and management is going to be a key part to your success. And there are just so many people who don't take the time to do that. And it's a very, very big mistake. So if you have not done that, and if you're listening, I would love it if you took the time to write down your experiences, your thoughts, your strengths, your weaknesses. And what you will soon realize is that there are themes that run through. Steve Jobs once said, and it's a great quote, you can never connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. And it is so, so true. The only way you can truly find the themes in your life and find the things that sort of a line that goes through, you say, all of these experiences that I've have this 1, 2, or 3 things in common. That's a theme I'm talking about. When you're able to do that, you will be further along the path than a lot of people who are in the process of looking at buying a franchise. Because what this will allow you to do is to sort of get rid and not go down a rabbit hole and searching for opportunity after opportunity that may not be good for you. Once you figure out, okay, these 10 potential opportunities are good for me, then it's easier to whittle those down and narrow those down, but always doing so with the understanding of what's going to be right for you. Because again, in order to be successful in franchising, you have to look at it as a marathon, not a sprint. And just because a franchise is quote unquote hot or the market is hot, that may not be a good franchise for you to buy. So anyways, hope this tip helps you. I would love to hear from you. Definitely email me, josh@franchiseeuphoria.com, or feel free to call me, 317-688-9111. Happy franchising.
Thanks for being with us today on the Franchise Euphoria podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go to iTunes and provide a review. Also, please remember that although Josh Brown is a licensed and practicing attorney, nothing contained in this podcast should be construed as legal advice, because it is not. The information contained in this podcast is general and educational in nature, and none of it should be relied upon as legal advice. That being said, if you have questions for Josh and would like to contact him, please email him at josh@franchiseeuphoria.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you tune in to our next weekly episode.